Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host, Gershwan, and today we're going to be talking about the Imperial Guard Regiment known as the Catachan Jungle Fighters. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We post Warhammer 40K lore videos every single day. If you enjoy our content, thank our patrons on Patreon. It is because of them that we can do this. Link in the description if you guys want to support us. But with that said, let's get into some notable engagements of the Catachan Jungle Fighters. The Catachan Jungle Fighters are the members of the infamous Imperial Guard regiments drawn from the death world of Catachan. These incredibly resilient soldiers have been used on countless Imperial battlefields since the Great Crusade, and while this military force is trained in all manner of warfare, the Jungle Fighters specialize in close quarter and infantry fighting. Every warrior drawn from the planet of Catachan has been bred to be a skilled tracker and hunter, using their specially honed talents to ambush and rip apart their enemies with deadly blades. When the regiments deem it necessary to switch up tactics, the Catachan Jungle Fighters will not hesitate to lay down explosive traps before hunkering down in dense cover. With their hulking frames, Catachan crewmen are able to heft massive shells and magazines into places with ease, allowing their gunners to lay down a nearly unending rain of shots from hidden positions. Those enemies not outright blown to shreds are quickly finished off by lasfire and torrents of burning promethium. The Catachan Jungle Fighters are most well known for fighting against the Greenskin menace on Armageddon, when the warlord Godskull Magorok Thraka invaded the system. But this Astra Militarum regiment has had many notable engagements throughout its long history of war. The Catachan regiment, known as the Unseen Lurkers, led by Colonel Black, aka Steel Eye, battled against the Orcs from the Deathskull clan on the Shadow World of Cantor. Dire visibility and exceptionally rough terrain reduced the war to a never-ending string of bloody skirmishes that tested the skills of the Catachan infantry to their limits. Neither side was able to gain any advantage until the Sentinel teams located and destroyed the Orc Stompa factories hidden in the depths of the Widow Valley. The Deathskulls responded by launching an all-out final offensive that threatened to overwhelm the Imperial forces with its sheer ferociousness. However, the Orc attack was caught in the jaws of a series of Catachan ambushes. The strategic Colonel Black then dissected and destroyed the remaining Orc forces over 3 solar days of extreme bloodshed. Many years later, the greenskin threat of Walkrax descended upon the Ryza system, and along with many other Imperial Guard regiments, the Catachan 2nd Regiment, under the command of Colonel Strachan, was one of very few Astra Militarum forces to survive the planetfall while answering the call for aid on the world of Dul Malin. Under Strachan's orders, the Catachan 2nd fought a year-long guerrilla war in the subterranean depths of the planet's caverns, earning a fearsome reputation amongst the Orc tribes. The decisive moment in the campaign came after the Catachan scouts located the center of the Orc city in a massive underground cavern known as the Multhian Vault. Strachan personally led a hand-picked team of demolition experts and infiltrated the Greenskin settlement. The human presence was detected on the 3rd day of the infiltration, when the roving pack of Squighounds detected the party, and in the ensuing firefight, Strachan accounted for the death of at least 30 Orcs and a mob of Killikans. The colonel was seriously wounded when he dragged the Orc warlord Kilskar into the path of a stampeding Squigoth that trampled them both in the cavern's floor. Strachan's troops succeeded in destroying the vault's primary support stacks and carried their colonel's injured body to safety before the entire cavern collapsed and destroyed the Orc city. The Imperial reinforcements arrived 2 days later, led by the High Praetor, Arshpreen. The remaining Orcs, scattered and now leaderless, were exterminated within weeks. The High Praetor's report to the Segmentum Command failed to mention the 2nd Catachan's true involvement in the cleansing of the planet, and simply cited Strachan's regiments as uncaught soldiers, little more civilized than the Orcs themselves. To make matters worse, the bastard took full credit of the success of the campaign on the world, and was rewarded by being made planetary governor. The men of the Catachan 2nd were immediately redeployed to the Ultan system. Colonel Ironhand Strachan was tended to by a team of Medicaid personnel, and barely clung to life during the journey. He awoke after receiving extensive bionic augmentation to find himself surrounded by the enemy, and the 2nd Catachan ready to follow him into yet another victory. A very successful victory, in which they assisted the Ulani Defense Battalions in search and destroy missions against the Orc commandos in the planet's polar mountain ranges. Colonel Ironhand Strachan would go on to become a legend when Chaos Lord Rattlethrax of the Night Lord's Traitor Legion invaded the death world of Catachan, sending vast orbital barrages down onto the planet, aiming at incinerating the vast swaths of the Catachan world jungle, Catathrax robbed the Catachan jungle fighters of their most natural defense before systematically bombing their bastion networks into rubble. Catathrax made planetfall to enjoy the butchery firsthand. Unfortunately for him, Colonel Ironhand Strachan laid in an ambush in the quagmire of a toxic sludge, waiting for the Night Lord to remove his helmet before successfully ambushing him and throttling him to death with a poisonous barb root. During the Third Sphere expansion campaign of the Tau Empire, the Tau Expeditionary Force was assembled and dispatched from the Borkon Sept and tasked with the annexation and colonization of the Imperial world of Cytheria. As the Tau expected stiff resistance from the human defenders, the Expeditionary Force was well supplied for what would be a long and difficult campaign. An outlying Imperial world in the eastern fringe, Cytheria was a planet defined by its dry, rugged plains and dense alien jungles. Although only sparsely populated, the world was home to a valuable resource facility of the Adeptus Mechanicus. As such, Cytheria's defenses were reinforced by 7 regiments of the Catachan jungle fighters, including 3 standard infantry regiments, 2 veteran light infantry regiments, and 2 armored regiments. The Tau force's landing site was cleared by stealth teams and spearheaded by Tau battlesuits. Despite their initial success, the Tau soon took heavy casualties. Phase 2 included the eradication of the Imperial armor, which was highlighted by the destruction of the entire Catachan armored regiment by the Tau Hammerhead elimination groups on the 3rd solar day of the invasion. As the Tau gained the upper hand, the remaining Catachan units withdrew into the jungles to carry on a protracted guerrilla war against the Xeno invaders. During this 3rd phase of the campaign, the Tau Fire Warriors found themselves outclassed in such dense terrain. Sensing a loss of momentum in the campaign, the Tau Ethereals redirected the attack on the Herzen Ridge Research and Communication Zone, which ultimately forced the Catachans to enter open battle. The combat on Herzen Ridge broke the last organized Imperial resistance, and Cytheria was largely pacified by the Tau. The transport of the needed materials and personnel for the Tau colonization of the world was soon underway, and represented another success in the Third Sphere expansion. However, scattered remnants of the Catachan forces still mount sporadic guerrilla attacks on vulnerable Tau targets, in the hopes of eventually receiving Imperial reinforcements. However, regular Tau hunter patrols scourged the jungles to eliminate those foolish humans who stubbornly refused to accept the greater good. Another incredibly resilient Catachan regiment is known as the Swamp Rats. Under the command of Colonel Gator, they fought for 7 standard years against the Tyranid infection on the world of Korokal 9. During this campaign, the Swamp Rats were forced to develop a number of unorthodox tactics to combat the Tyranid threat. Teams of highly experienced Tyranid hunters covered their bodies in ichor taken from the Xenos they had slain, to build up an immunity to the alien toxins, and also to mask their own scent from the Tyranid bioforms that were hunting them in turn. Because of this, the Catachan were able to lie in ambush, using the pheromone glands cut from the bodies of slain lictors to lure the bulk of the Tyranid swarms into carefully constructed and heavily trapped fire zones. After successfully eliminating the Tyranids, the surviving Swamp Rats were required to spend 2 standard years aboard a decontamination ship to ensure that any infections or toxins they had picked up from contact with the aliens were not spread to the wider Imperial population. Another very notable Catachan regiment is known as the Waiting Death. They are known for their almost exclusive and highly successful employment of booby traps. They are known to spend solar days, even weeks, preparing a large area with mines, improvised spike pits, long falls, and other deadly traps before their foolhardy baiter squads lure the enemy into the death trap awaiting them. Most notable of their achievements was the almost complete destruction of Warlord Crackskull's entire orc horde with a single massive pit trap. They accomplished this by covering the mile-deep Hell's Mouth Gorge on Andra 5. So perfect was the trap's construction that almost all of the greenskin horde had started to cross the hidden ravine before the fake floor of branches and leaves gave way under their tremendous weight. Because of this remarkable achievement, the Waiting Death has become famous amongst all Imperial regiments. And I hope this gives you a small glimpse as to the warfare that the Catachan jungle fighters are most well known for. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, thank our patrons on Patreon. It is because of them that we can do this. Link in the description if you guys want to support us. It's just $1 a month, and with that $1, we can create more videos for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you have any other regiment that you guys would like us to talk about, please comment down below. I'll talk to you tomorrow. This was Gershwan with One Mind Syndicate signing out.
refuse to put my freedom first in any situation.